After dragging my feet for a solid year, here is my much requested wedding makeup. I can't chit chat and do makeup at the same time, so a voiceover it is. Okay, first up, skin prep. And at this point, I had already used an O2 mask, cleansed, toned, moisturized, and used the New Face microcurrent device. So here's just a little gua sha to finish things off. If you want another video with the full skin prep routine, let me know in the comments. I will also link all the products that I'm going to use in the comments as well. Next up, a little moisturizer on the lip. And then I'm going to apply some eye patches. This is a step I usually do when I need a full face, partially to moisturize under my eyes, but also to collect any fallout while I'm doing my eye makeup. Next, I'm going to add a tight line to my eyes. There's nothing worse than creasing eye makeup, so I do a few layers of eyeshadow prep. So first is an eyelid primer that I just tap on with my finger and then let it dry down. While that's drying, I use a little bit of brow gel. Then another layer of eye prep. For this layer, I'm using a full coverage longwear concealer just to create a very even base. And again, limit the amount of creasing that's going to happen to my eye makeup throughout the night. While that dries down, I fill in my eyebrows. I used to always use a powder, but lately I've been loving how easy this pencil is to use. Then, just to create the cleanest line possible, I use a little extra tape at the end of my eye patches. It just helps to make the eye makeup application pretty foolproof. Then I'm going to use my favorite Bin Eye Powder to create the base of my smoky eye. Again, this isn't a very deep color, but it's a nice base to build a smoky eye on that's not going to end up looking too harsh. I've been using this powder for over a decade, and I'll be using it actually again later for my contour. So you're going to want to put a bulk of this eye color on the outside of the eyelids, and then I sort of just use like a windshield wiper motion to blend it into the inner eye. We're actually going to use this same basic motion for all of the other layers of eye makeup. So again, I like for my eye makeup to be pretty foolproof, so we're going to now use a brush that's a tiny bit smaller than the last one, and then use an eye color that's a tiny bit darker than the last one. So again, I start by placing the brush on the outside corner of the eye and then blending it in toward the middle. You might have to go back and forth between eyes for a few times just to make sure you get both sides even. Now we're going to find an even smaller brush and a slightly darker color and do that same windshield wiping motion. Sometimes darker colors can go on a little bit more harsh, so you can see I'm also using a clean, dry, a little bit fluffier brush to just sort of blend that out a little bit. And then finally, our smallest brush with, you guessed it, our darkest color. For me, this color is going to be black for my smoky eye. And this one, we're just going to concentrate in the outer corner of the eye. It's kind of like you are doing a winged liner on the end of your eyelid. And then, of course, and I can't state this enough, blend it out. And then I'm going to go back in with a little bit lighter of a color to blend that Bin Eye powder in a bit more. And then our final step is to just add a little liquid winged liner. The tape actually really helps with this step in getting like that nice, crisp, tight line. After that dries, now you can remove the tape and the eye patches and we will move on to the skin. But before makeup, I do add a few more layers of skin prep. Starting with the MAC Prep and Prime Spray. This has been a cult classic for a long time. I like to spray that on and then let that dry completely. After that's dry, the next layer of skin prep is the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. You're gonna, again, let that dry completely, but it will end up kind of finishing with a little bit of a tacky feel, and that's actually what you want. And then a little Laneige on the lips just to keep them nice and moisturized. Next layer of skin prep is the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter. I just use a large brush to spread that into a nice thin even layer. Next, I go into color correct. For this, I'm adding a thin layer of this orange color corrector over any and every ounce of discoloration I see on my face. Now I'm going to add a little bit of light back to my brow bone by adding a concealer. I just had a very thin line right underneath my eyebrow and then blend that out with a clean, dry brush. Okay, so then my wedding got the best of me. My phone died, but luckily I practiced this look more times than I want to admit. So here's the rest of the routine, but at home. A little disclaimer, my shoulder straps are down here because I had already prepped my chest with a lift and firm mask. So I wanted to allow it time to dry down. Okay, back to the face. So next I'm adding a generous layer of foundation all over my face. Estee Lauder Double Wear has been my tried and true foundation since pageant days because let me tell you, she will stay on. And you can see that instead of smearing, I'm using sort of this stippling motion, which I think just creates a more even base and eliminates kind of that fear or risk of getting streak marks. I also, for a full face, like to carry my foundation out to my ears and down my neck just to keep the color more uniform throughout. Now I'm going to apply my first layer of concealer. I personally love to mix my concealer with just a little bit of my foundation color just to ensure everything has a similar undertone. So you can see me mixing that together here. And then I just sort of apply it in a triangular shape under my eyes, my upper lip, my chin, and then blend that out using that same stippling motion we used for foundation. Now onto contour, which you can see I'm placing right below my cheekbones, around my hairline, under my jaw, and down my neck, because we want it to be all snatched. And then I just take a brush and I blend that up and out. I also then like to take a small angled brush and pick up a little product right from the contour stick to contour my nose, and I blend that all the way up to right to the inside of my eyebrows. Now we move on to blush. I love, love, love this color from McGrath Labs. I use it both on a full face and with no makeup at all. But again, I pick this up with my brush off of the stick, and then I place that high on my cheekbones. And then for a little bit more depth, we're going to add a little bit of a coral color. This is super pigmented, so I actually add a dot to the back of my hand, blend that out with a brush, and then apply it high on my cheekbone. All right, now we've got another layer of concealer. So I use that same Makeup by Mario concealer we used from the brow bone, and this I'm placing in a little bit more targeted of areas than the first round of concealer. So just a tiny triangle in the corners of my eyes, a small line at the edge of the eyes, right between the eyebrows, down the bridge of the nose, a dot at the tip of the nose, and then right outside of the nostrils. And then I'll blend that all together with a damp beauty blender. Okay, now stay with me. I'm adding another layer of contour. I know this is going to feel like overkill, but at my wedding, I plan to have my makeup finished by noon, and then it has to last through my partying and dancing until 2 a.m. at the earliest. So we are layering it all. This matte cream foundation is another tried and true, super creamy and easy to blend. Any dark, creamy cream foundation works great. This step could also probably be skipped because we are putting on several layers of contour, but I love contour. So we're going to apply it in the same place as we did the last layer of contour, just with a slightly smaller angled brush. I then like to use these makeup poofs to just sort of pat some powder under my eyes and down my upper lip, and then I blend that out almost immediately because we'll be baking in a later step. All right, so it's my wedding, obviously, and the goal is super snatched. So I'm going to add one more layer of dimension back to my cheeks by adding a slightly lighter, almost imperceptibly lighter foundation shade, sort of along the masseter area of my jaw, so just below that contour line. So now that we have done all of our cream products, we're going to add another layer with all of our powder products. So this is going to ensure that my makeup lasts through Mexico heat, through a parade, and through hours of dancing. Starting with our highlight powder, I use a good old-fashioned makeup wedge for this step, and probably the most OG of all the powders. I'm using the Ben Nye Banana Powder for the inner eye, the bridge of the nose, basically the same place that Makeup by Mario concealer went. And then I'm going to use a different color that's a little bit more pigmented for the remainder of areas of the face we want to highlight. Then we are going to add a layer of powder contour. So this is actually that same powder we used as the base of our eye makeup. And we're placing it in all of the same areas as our cream contour. And then we just let it bake. Now, while it bakes, we're going to do our under eye makeup. So I like to use a dark brown powder to line under my eyes. I just think it looks a little bit less harsh than a black pencil. I then use a lighter brown and a brush with a little more fluff to blend that out. And then I go even one shade lighter, and that color I'm going to bring to the inner corner of my under eye. Now I'm going to add a little shimmer to my eyelid. So it's important that you use something with the finest shimmer so it doesn't come off tacky. And that's just gonna go in the middle third of the eyelid. I actually love this loose powder from Bovanti, but really any nice glittery shadow will work. And then use a fluffy brush to brush off all of your bake. Okay, now we will add our powder brushes. I like to push the brush into the blush and then take the brush and dust it on my cheekbone. I'm going to use this fan brush to add a little bit of shimmer highlight to the cheekbones, brow bones, bridge of the nose, and of course the collarbones. A generous layer of setting spray. Now, while that dries down, I curl my lashes, then apply mascara on both the top and underside of my top lashes. Another layer of setting spray. And then I prep my fake lashes. I've also been using these lashes since my pageant days, but normally I do trim the inner two tufts of hair. And then I'm gonna apply a layer of glue. And then I'm actually gonna put those lashes down glue side up on the countertop so it has some time to get tacky and sticky for several minutes before I try to put on my eyelids. And while the lashes set, we're going to move to the lips, which will also be layered with 2 lip liner colors. So I actually like to line the lips completely and then actually fill in the lips with pencil for a better staying power. Then I'm going to add a layer of traditional lipstick, a lighter liquid matte lip for the pouty part of my lips, and then I like to blend that out with my finger. And then right before lashes, I add some brightening eye drops. Again, these are another pageant staple. And then because you've already put mascara on, you should be able to sit those lashes right on top of your own, aligning them with the outer corner of your eyes. And voila, we are done. Makeup is ready for your big wedding day.